Good evening. Welcome to the evening transmission Saaj Dhale on Rajdhani channel of All India Radio and medium wave 50.5 meters corresponding to 666 kHz. Please stand by. This is All the Radio. We now bring you the comments from the press.
This is All India Radio. You will now hear comments from the press. The Indian Express, in its editorial titled Missing Workers, says India's total workforce, the sum of persons in employment, has fallen from 42 crores to 37.3 crore between 2011-12 and 2017-18, according to an official periodic labor force survey (PLFS) report cited by this newspaper. There are apparent differences in data collection methodology used in the latest survey vis-a-vis the ones for the earlier years, but the finding raised concern. To start with, this is probably the first time that the total number of employed persons has actually registered a decline. Now, it's plausible that such a decline can happen with rising education levels, which makes people that much more reluctant to take up casual labor work. That would be reflected in lesser numbers joining the workforce. The ones joining may do so only after attaining a certain age. The so-called working age population includes all individuals who are at least 15 years old, which is definitely too young for the job market, and accumulating skills that enable them to command a higher salary or wage rate. If this is indeed taking place, it isn't a bad thing. However, the above optimism is not borne out by other evidence, whether hard survey-based or anecdotal. The Labour Bureau's data on rural wages, for instance, shows the average annual growth during the last 4 years at just over 4.5% in nominal terms and a mere 0.5% in real terms after netting out inflation. If the supply of workers has fallen, even for good reasons, it should have led to a tightening of the labour market, which clearly isn't the case. Moreover, the private data analytics firm Centre for Monitoring Indian Economy (CMIE) has systematically been putting out data pointing to both the fallen labour participation rate, the proportion of working age population either employed or actively seeking jobs, and rising unemployment rate, the proportion of labour force that is unemployed, since early 2017. The Economic Times, in its editorial title L.K. Advani, Winter of the BJP Patriarch, writes, "Politics is not a place for sentiment. Winston Churchill, who mobilized the English language and the English people to war and victory, saw the same people who had rallied to his cry to fight invaders on the beaches and on the landing grounds vote his government out of power after the war." Compared to that, L.K. Advani's exit from electoral battle at the age of 91 is pretty humdrum. Advani had been the tallest leader of the BJP for its insiders, those who had built the party with blood, sweat and tears, admittedly not always their own, and considered poetry-spouting Vajpayee to a liberal mask that party needed at one stage on its evolution. His was the campaign to demolish the Babri Mosque. He had developed the current crop of BJP leaders, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and forged the political alliance that made BJP lead the national government for the first time. But then he had failed as well. With his India Shining campaign in 2004, his attempt to claim a more liberal space for himself with his characterization of Jinnah as secular, and his leadership of the BJP-led coalition 2009 effort to dislodge the Congress-led United Progressive Alliance from office. Success is many fathers rushing to claim ownership. Failure is an orphan, about whose parent age those who matter have absolutely clarity, even if no one quite bothers to pin the tail on the donkey acting call. So it was over-ambitious to Advani to have sought prime ministerial candidacy in 2014. When he was made to realize this was the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, whose faithful members has been since the age 14, he retreated in sulking silence. He served on the Margdarshak Mandal, where he had been put to pasture only with certain other leaders. Now it would be dignified for him to go gentle into the right instead of burning and raving at the dying of his day. The Hindustan Times, in its editorial titled Bhagat Singh and his comrades showed politics has no age bar, comments, "Is the following an easy thing to imagine in the world of 2019? 3 young, articulate, well-read members of a socialist revolutionary group who, quote, arrest in order to register the protest against an act passed by the imperial government, go on strike in prison to bring attention to the horrible state of prisoners, and are then hanged, all in their early 20s. That was Bhagat Singh, 23 at the time of his death, who, along with his comrades Sukhdev, 23, and Rajguru, 22, were hanged on this day in 1931. The arrest also brought to light their earlier involvement in the killing of a policeman. In their deaths, they become immortal under